Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. We have a little bit of a different view. Thought I'd change it up for the next couple of readings. And I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. Everything will be the same. And channel members, you guys will have a collective message that posts this evening, so definitely check that out. And High Priestess here, you guys are going to start the 3-month glow up using Microhabits on Sunday. So I'm super excited about that. A bunch of you signed up. And we're going to be going systematically through various areas of our life and making small habit changes so that we can come out of it at the end of 3 months and be like, wow, look how far I've come. So let's go ahead. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in channel memberships, that link's always in the description box. All right. Okay. Let's get into it. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. It's going kind of weird. There's a bit of a messy energy. This messy energy feels, it may not necessarily be entirely internal, but right now it's internal. It's something that isn't necessarily being expressed. It's not necessarily outside. Yeah, it's internal. We have the Hermit card here. Someone is mulling over or thinking about some sort of messy energy. They're trying to illuminate a way forward with it. There may have even been a recent decision that was made. Let's see. See, we have the moon. This is definitely something someone is keeping inside. This may even have to do with being angry here with the Ace of Wands. With this Ace of Wands, this is actually saying a lot of different things. To me, Ace of Wands is also about our correct use of power, the use of our energy, the direction that we place our energy. That's usually what I talk about when I talk about the Ace of Wands. Here with the moon, there's something here that we may not have seen previously in terms of the way that our energy was being given or received or used. Okay, this seems to be what someone is thinking about right now with this Hermit card. Now, I think that with this Ace of Wands showing up underneath that moon, there's been a very long process for somebody of gaining better control over their personal energy. And I love that there's all these roses on this particular Ace of Wands card because there's something that's starting to blossom inside of someone. It's almost like the aha, like, oh, I get it now, right? I get just how much I've given this much energy away or this sort of resource away, whatever it happens to be. And now I'm able to take this back for myself. And as someone starts to take that energy back for themselves and they start to hold that energy within themselves, it starts to make them much more effective inside of their own life. It's like their life starts to blossom because that energy isn't going towards feeding others, it's feeding the self. These roses that are showing up, just the various colors that are coming through, I think that someone's starting to learn to use their voice with the blue rose. Here, I'll show you. Someone's starting to learn to use their voice and to speak up for themselves more. With these two here, these are kind of making me think of the chakra that's at the base of the neck and the back. So this one can show up for a lot of people in a magenta color, and it's really about marching to the beat of your own drum. So someone here has really learned how to let their freak flag fly. This one's kind of striking me as like a reddened version of this violet one. So this one is speaking about spiritual direction, spiritual connection. Someone is working on reopening or growing their spiritual connection. But this one's interesting because it's almost like the intersecting of these two colors. So it's allowing someone's authenticity to be a new spiritual direction for themselves. I think this is really beautiful because what it means is that someone is starting to really cultivate an inner landscape that is recognizable. Now, most people think, oh, well, I already had the inner landscape. That's why I was, you know, it's really presenting it external that was the hard part. That's why I wasn't being authentic. But our authenticity to ourselves and the way that we're showing up in our energy in our external life really reflects our authenticity on an internal level, right? Because why do we not express that authenticity most of the time is because we feel like it's not going to be good enough for others, or that, you know, we don't feel like we deserve to, or that, you know, there's something wrong with it. There's an internal imbalance that happens when we hold that energy in. So someone here, you've been working on that internal imbalance, and this is just kind of the evidence of it, is that you're now starting to take energy back for yourself, and you're starting to express yourself in new ways. I feel for some of you, you have been expressing yourself in this very authentic way. And what's happening now is you're just starting to see other areas of a greater understanding. I'll put it this way, a greater understanding of where your energy has been going. Okay. Now, this Hermit is a very, this card almost makes me think of like an external stasis. It's very similar to the Hangman in some ways, because the Hangman is stuck. He's not going anywhere. The Hermit actually travels. He goes out into the wilderness, but in the wilderness, he's still like the Hangman, surrounded by calm and peace and quiet. And the majority of what's happening is an internal process. For the Hermit, this person tends to think about what is truly valuable and what they value and what matters most to them. It's really assessing their priorities. So this can sometimes be a card that I liken to the Greek philosopher Diogenes, because he would walk around with a staff and a lantern and in this sort of cloak. Diogenes was definitely a heel in his time, and he did some super inappropriate things. But it all came down to him really being authentic in his own values. And he might have been a little loud and shove them in your face with people, but you can't say that he was fake. And so I think that someone here, you're really uncovering certain layers where maybe you still have been playing by a particular set of rules that weren't your rules. And what others maybe don't see is that you might be getting good and angry about that, right? Sometimes anger in those situations is misplaced, right? Nobody makes us play by certain rules. We usually sign up for that. Obviously, there's some situations where that's not going to be the case. But I think that someone here, because you recognize that, you're also taking control of that as well. I like this card because there's a lot of self-control, personal energy control. This is a lot of like self-respect energy is coming off of these two cards right now. So I think that whoever this message is for, you've really cultivated a very deep and profound sense of self-respect. We have the sun. So the Hermit is coming into the sun. This is illumination. This is our consciousness in many ways. This is the refined consciousness. Someone may feel that in doing this sort of cleaning up of where your energy is going, that it's like, I got it now. Like I have arrived. This is what I needed to figure out my entire life. That's kind of like the energy that the sun is giving me. Just because of the process in the Major Arcana through like the alchemical symbolism of what's taking place. It's like the great work is nearing completion, right? And I think that that's really what someone may be feeling at this time, is like, I've gone on this really long journey, I've been on this really long road, maybe even in isolation, and had to isolate myself through much of it to learn who I actually am, what I really value, what I'm hiding inside, how to take control of my own energy, my emotions even. And I feel like the work is almost nearing completion. So this is a really beautiful reading coming through for somebody. And I love that this is coming through on New Year's Eve. So happy New Year's Eve if you are watching this. And if you're watching this after New Year's Eve, no worries. This is a timeless reading. All my readings are timeless readings. Okay, let's see. And then we have the Five of Pentacles. I do think that in the past, one of the things that really kept someone stuck in placating, I want to call it, is that someone really felt like if they didn't, they would be left out in the cold, right? I would be the person who's not playing along. I'd be the person who's not showing up the way everybody in the world wants me to show up. I'm not like everybody. And this kind of comes up a little bit inside of the members reading. So if you are a channel member, definitely check out tonight's post. Here with the Five of Pentacles, this is being left out in the cold. You may feel like the black sheep of the family. You may feel like the person that's always pushed out of the friend group, whatever the case. And this is probably a story that you've been working on for quite some time, right? How to not feel abandoned, how to not feel like you don't belong. And some of you have just accepted, I don't belong, right? It goes back to this energy of this magenta flower, the freak flag, right? And loving that. I think that some of you have really learned to flourish in that knowledge. And it's not to be a rebel. It's not to be argumentative, not to be conflictual. You just understand this is just how it is. Like most people, you know, they live in this sort of arena, and I'm over here doing my own thing. And I'm okay with that. I love it. And someone has really come to terms with that. It's like there's been a release here of the need to belong, especially with this Hermit card showing up. So whoever this message is for, that need to belong, that need to you know, follow, that need to fit in with everyone, you don't have that. That's something that maybe you've never had. But what I do see is that this independence and this individuation that you are experiencing, that you've been finally crafting for yourself, it is leading you into a place where this is the overall energy for you. It's like this is the energy that was meant to be experienced by your story, and this is the energy of the Empress, right? The Empress has amazing things around her. The Empress has this sort of life where things are given to her in some way, because she is married to the Emperor. And this Empress energy is very beautiful because it's very similar to Goddess energy whenever I pull it. So this is someone who is able to grow and cultivate and create. So there's a very creative energy coming in for whoever this message is for. I'm almost feeling like creation is a superpower. That's kind of the energy that it is. Okay, we have compassionate heart, embrace empathy. And then I'm taking the bottom of that deck, and it is the Cardinal, be comforted. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of empathy inside the collective that I'm reading for today. And I think that in this sort of empathic state, you know, oftentimes that is why people will isolate, is because they care so much about other people and they get burned because of it, right? So I think that whoever this message is for, you've probably been through that experience. You've probably withdrawn for quite some time in order to clear out some things. And that empathy is probably why you had to get into this energy as well, right? Not being the person to always shift and morph into what other people need, but allowing people to do that for you for once, if they're even capable of it. I do think that here with the Cardinal, the be comforted, I think someone's really finding a lot of comfort in these new realizations that they're having. It's almost like I'm growing so much is kind of how it feels. Someone understands that emotionally and spiritually they're evolving in some way. And there's a lot of emotional maturity that's coming with that. Not that you weren't emotionally mature before, but it's almost like whoever this message is for, there's a commitment to this sort of emotional maturity. And I'm seeing more of that as you really establish what is right for you, what's not right for you, what's within your rights, what's not within your rights. There's a greater sense of boundaries that's coming in with that, because that's all part of emotional maturity. One of the reasons why boundaries come up with me for the Empress is because when you look at the Empress card, she's sitting inside of a garden. Even though that garden seems like extending forever, it's not. A garden usually came inside of a very secluded space. It was usually very confined. And so it's like you're growing things, but you're growing things that maybe other people will never be able to appreciate, right? These are things that you're growing just for you. And I think that whoever this message is for, there was a point inside of your life where you had to learn to be okay that you are growing these things just for you, right? For example, your family may not care about what you do. They may not care about what you spend your time doing. If you're like building a business and you're successful with it, they may not celebrate that the way that you think that they should. And at some point you became okay with that. It doesn't mean that you settled with it. For some of you, you disconnected from family. It doesn't mean that, you know, it's just that it's not something that you take personally anymore, because you understand it's not a direct reflection of you. I almost feel that for some of you, because there is a strong element in this for me of family. And the reason why is because the Five of Pentacles, I pull that a lot of times inside of personal readings for people that are like black sheeped out of families. So that's why that's coming in for me. For some of you, it's not going to have anything to do with your family, but I'm going to read it as though it does, and you can just apply it to your situation. For some of you, you know, your family is a family that they have a lot of self-focus. And so this is one of the reasons why you had to be such an empathic person, is because someone had to care about the needs of the whole rather than the needs of just the individual. And there is an element here where, in taking back that control for yourself, don't be surprised if people kind of react, right? Because that's what people do. People are very reactionary. It doesn't make it okay. But just, you know, be prepared for that, because I do think some of you are looking at some reactionary behavior. It's the way that this cardinal is kind of flapping in the background. That's the way that that's making me feel right now, and it's sitting underneath this card, which is talking to me about family. I think that there's a lot of comfort and peace that someone has cultivated inside of their own life. And it's quite possible that the reason why this is even coming up is because it disturbed your peace. There's been a recent situation that kind of disturbed your peace, that really got you to see or illuminate a problem. And I think that you're working through that problem right now to figure out exactly what to say, how to present a solution for it, or maybe even, do you even want to do that at all? So this is kind of an interesting energy, because more than being about the actual situation or about the actual people around you, I do feel that people are involved. This is really a message is coming through that's about you. There's an internal process that's happening, and this internal process that's happening is very important for you. It's going to lead you into this energy, that Empress energy, because it's a process that's happening as you're nearing the completion of something. I don't know if this is a cycle. I don't, you know, because most people, we think that we have like one cycle in our lives. We actually have multiple cycles going on at any given time. It's all part of the pattern. And I don't know if you're looking at a completion of a cycle, or if this is a complete rebirth of self, right? For some of you, it's going to be profound, and it might be a complete rebirth of self. But either way, it's like you're giving yourself a gift here. You're giving yourself the gift of yourself, right? Your own energy, your own time, understanding how to tell people no, how to tell people that something makes you unhappy. So this is a really good reading. This is a very empowering reading for whoever's this is for. And I think this is a really good way for you to start off the new year and to end the old year, is in this sort of changing of the guard, right? The mechanisms that you put in place that keep yourself stuck. So there's a lot of movement on the other side of this. So I love this. I'm gonna leave this here. If this resonates for you, please feel free to hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment. And until next time.